most people that I work with know probably more about ADHD than I do. They've done all of the deep dives, but they're
Yeah.
still not doing the work.
Right.
You have to build skills. So to have a playground for people to practice and fail and be okay being
Yes.
like, I feel like shit about this. Like, totally get it.
Yes. That's the only way we learn is through our mistakes. And yeah, a bunch of the time we're not going to be successful, but that's actually going to lead to bigger growth. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is Dr. Lori Bruce from both sides of the couch, and I'm very excited to introduce my audience today to Russ Jones, who is the host. Here he is, Russ. He is the host of the ADHD Big Brother podcast. He is an ADHD coach, and we're going to talk quite a bit today about his journey in the diagnosis as well as what ADHD looks like. One of the things I do like to say in advance is that ADHD can look different in different people. So we're going to talk about Russ, and I bet there are things about Russ's journey that you're going to be able to relate to, and maybe some things you're not going to be able to relate to. But we're going to talk all things ADHD today. So thank you so much for being here today, Russ. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to talk about all of this stuff, all of the things that you mentioned.
All of the things. So we'll start kind of from the beginning. I
Okay.
don't know how comfortable you are sharing your current age.
I'm
You're
50.
you're
I'm
50. Okay.
literally 50 years old.
Literally five
Exactly.
zero.
Yeah.
Perfect. Great age. 50s, I think, are the best years of our lives. I
Is it? Oh,
truly,
good.
truly mean that. So you are currently age 50. At what age were you diagnosed with ADHD? And can you just share with us a little bit about that process? How did you get diagnosed?
Yeah, okay, because it was never on the radar ever, and it was I was going through a tough time in my marriage. We subsequently got divorced, but we were in couples counseling at the time, and the counselor suggested I might have ADHD. So it was the first time I was ever heard it. And then,
Wow.
you do what you do. You go home and you Google it. You take all the
Mhm.
online quizzes. You learn out what kind of a cheese you are. And if it's the cheese that's the ADHD, then you're like, oh, I have ADHD. Oh my God.
How
And
did
then
I not know this?
what? It's also clear. Yeah. And so then it was, then
Yeah.
I got it officially diagnosed with ADHD as well as depression, as we've talked about before. And yeah, and that was right around age 40, I would say.
Okay. Around age 40. And interestingly, and I've heard this many, many times, that a lot of folks who actually initially get the suggestion to look into the ADHD diagnosis got that suggestion because of someone else in their life. Could be a
Oh,
partner doing the couples therapy, but what I also hear often is our kids get diagnosed with
yeah.
ADHD. And so then during the process of giving feedback to the parents, like, hey, your kid has ADHD, and statistically, one of you probably has ADHD too. And that's a very common way that I see folks finally under putting some pieces together for the first times in their life.
Yeah, for sure. I've heard about that a lot. Yeah, where the parents like that are like paying attention to their kids' diagnosis and the symptoms and things, and they're like, wait a minute, those are all I have that too. Wait a minute. Oh
Exactly.
shit. You got it from me. Oh my God.
Yes. And there is so much guilt and shame about that. So much of what I want to normalize is that we can have a whole plethora of diagnoses and we're still
Yeah.
good people
Yep.
and we're still have worth and value, and the importance is about education and self-compassion.
Cool. That sounds
So
good to
here you
me.
are, you're in couples therapy. The very astute therapist says, "Hey Russ, this is something you ought to check out." And then what did you was were you self-diagnosed, or did you ever actually go and get formally diagnosed?
No, I went through, I thought he was full of because I was like, I'm here to save my marriage. Like, what are you talking about my dumb brain for? So so I did all the my own homework first to prove him wrong. Oh God, it turns out he's
How'd that
right.
go?
Yeah, not well at all. And then I went to a psychiatrist or a psychologist, or I got a diagnosis. They like you dig up all your old report cards. And
Yeah.
you know, I'm vaguely remember this, but it's kind of in the same time frame where my mom and dad had a big box of like all of our from
Mhm.
like that they saved
Mhm.
that, and they gave it to us because they're like, we don't want it anymore. You know, you
Right.
take it.
We're tired of
And
lugging this around from
yeah,
house to house. Yep.
had all my report cards,
Oh
had
my
all
God.
like as a kid. So I went and looked at it, and it's synonymous with all of it, right? You're like, he's a pleasure to have in class, but the quality of work varies. I My mom even corroborated half the where it's like, I would do all I was like an A student. And
Mhm.
I would do the homework and forget to turn it in.
Yeah.
Or I would lose it in my backpack and then find it in my backpack a week later. Or I would do a book report at 2 in the morning because um, it's due tomorrow.
It's due
So,
tomorrow.
so the
Did you
signs are all there. Yeah.
The signs were all there. I love that being able to have the opportunity to look back and reflect and even see it in childhood. Because that's one
Oh
thing
my.
we do know that is a necessary component of a diagnosis of ADHD is that you can't just all of a sudden develop these symptoms in adulthood. In order to have a diagnosis in adulthood, we have to have had these symptoms our whole life. So it's
Yeah.
not a reaction to anything or a change in anything. It's since
Yeah.
childhood. Did you have the word has so much potential in there? Because that's like also a key word where the teacher
Yeah.
is trying to convey, look, this kid is smart. This kid is able to do the work. He has so much potential, but there are these other barriers that maybe we can't fully understand that get in the way of the output or the performance.
That's a tough one to answer because I'm small town. It was a small town,
Mhm.
small public school. This kind of stuff was not on the radar in the
Sure.
1980s,
Yeah,
right?
for
And
sure.
it was just boys being obnoxious
Yeah.
but fun. I was so fun.
Yeah.
And the school was not hard.
Mm.
It was too easy for me.
Yeah.
So there
Yeah.
was no challenge. And it was boring most of the time. So
Yeah.
for me, it was more about he's fun, but he's also a distraction
Yeah.
in
Yes.
class, right?
Talks a lot. Did you get that one? That's one of the biggest
Probably,
predictors.
probably.
Is
I don't
chatty.
remember the day to day of my childhood, but I'm sure that had to be somewhere in there.
Yes.
Class clown ish.
Class clown,
Yeah.
yes. And those to me are the gifts of ADHD. I really do see that as the gifts, and maybe we'll talk about that at some point. But I do believe that in addition to some of the challenges which have made your life more difficult, there are also a lot of gifts and silver linings associated with it.
Mm.
Um, so it's also very common, you may or may not know this, I'm sharing this for the audience, that when folks are bright, when people have higher IQs, it actually is a little bit more challenging to make the diagnosis. And it also increases the delay in diagnosis because you're bright and schoolwork maybe isn't that hard for you, you don't have to focus as much. You don't have to study
Yeah.
as much. And so things come a little bit naturally or easier for those
Yeah.
folks. So oftentimes for bright kids, the diagnosis of ADHD either is not until college
Yeah.
when there's much less structure and hand holding or even beyond.
Yeah, I can speak from experience to that. That was one of my regrets, I think, of late in life diagnosis is that when I went to college, I went from the structure of my parents, right? Of like get good grades or you're grounded, or there is an imposed structure when you live at home most of the time.
Yeah.
When you go to college, you have zero structure, and I did not realize that that was my downfall, that I just needed structure.
Yeah.
I took it to mean, well, I'm only getting A's in the acting classes and I'm in all the school plays at the college. So I'm, this is probably the sign that I'm supposed to be an actor. And so I'm going to
Mm.
have to go to LA now. So college isn't for me. Bye. And then I'm
See,
off
peace
to
out.
yeah. And I could have, if I would have had the structure, I could have gone through college.
Yeah,
Yep.
interesting.
So
Interesting. So the acting? As you reflect on it now, what do you think the difference was? Why do you think, knowing your ADHD, that
Yeah,
the acting classes were felt better for you than the other classes?
because I loved them. I was passionate about it. It
Mm,
was the intrinsically motivated to do it. Of the, you know how we talk, oh, it's interest.
yeah,
My interest wired brain was interested in
yes,
acting as an art form, as a creative outlet, as an expression of, it was, so it was great. It was perfect for that.
yeah.
Um,
I'm glad that you bring up that point because a lot of folks who don't yet fully understand the aspects of ADHD will often say about their child, oh, he can pay attention. He just pays attention only when he chooses to or wants to. If he doesn't
yeah.
want to pay attention, then he doesn't. So therefore, he must not have ADHD. And what I have to explain to parents is no, that's actually a sign of ADHD that kids with ADHD, it's not about can or can't, it's more about the regulation of attention. And so if it's
Yeah.
something that they're really interested in, they might even hyper focus on it, like not
Hmm.
have difficulty shifting off their attention from something they're really passionate about.
Yeah. That sounds about right to me. That's,
Sounds right to you.
yeah, it sounds
So
how I feel.
what
Yeah.
what kinds of have you done any treatments
Uh-huh.
for ADHD? What kinds of
Yeah.
things have you tried?
Oh, I ran the gamut. I've tried all of it. I've tried various medications, and I say this on my podcast a bunch, but like
Hmm.
I'm very pro medicine because it's so effective. It
Mm,
really works. I can't I can't take it because, or I choose not to take it because the side effects for me
hmm.
were always really and
Yes.
it didn't. I'd rather be distracted than have debilitating anxiety, or I'd rather have be distracted and not focused than sink into deeper depressions, and that was what was happening.
Yeah.
So I tried that. Then I have tried coaching myself,
Hmm.
and I didn't. I'm an advocate for coaching. I think it's absolutely, if you have coaching money, get coaching. It's awesome. I It
Agreed.
didn't work for me with the places that I went because they didn't do accountability stuff.
Mm,
And I'm such who gives a crap what you learn in the session if you're not going to do anything with it?
you're right.
And so
Right.
many of us have appointment amnesia. You'll go to the appointment, it'll be awesome. You're like, yeah, I'm going to change everything about my life starting now. And then you literally walk out the room, song comes on the radio, you take a phone call, it's just gone.
Yeah.
The working memory, it's like, okay, so your epiphany just poof, it's gone.
Yes.
Who cares? So
Yeah.
I never had growth when I did coaching because of that. But
Mm,
when I found a quick group for my nicotine addiction, I had a nicotine addiction for like 20 years. And I joined a quick group that had daily accountability in the community.
hmm.
And that was such a game changer for me. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, show up every day. Say I'm not going to chew tobacco or smoke a cigarette and live in the hell of that and share the hell of that with
Yeah.
others who are going through it. And
Yeah.
so then I ended up applying that to ADHD and be like, okay, maybe I can create a community for adults with ADHD. And that's how ADHD Big Brother, the community came to be of like, yeah, we're not only learning how to deal with it, but we're doing the work, which
Yes.
is
I love
I'm
that.
so in service of that.
I love that
Yeah.
because, especially the piece about community,
Yep.
because so many, and especially adults, I would say probably, who were going through school in the 70s, the 80s, early 90s, where ADHD was much less often diagnosed, as it is today, less often seen. There's so much shame around it.
Oh
So
yeah.
many people feel like that they've been given so many negative messages, they
Yeah.
feel stupid, they feel lazy, they feel different, but never
Yeah.
had a word for it other than something really negative. So I love that community
Yeah.
where you can meet other people who are super bright and super fun and
Yeah.
super all the great things. And to know, hey, if this person has ADHD and I have ADHD,
Yeah.
maybe it's not so bad.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, how embarrassing it is to say to a room full of normies in the world, "I can't do my laundry today." They're like, "Just do your laundry." If you feel like an idiot, but man, you get into a room
Yeah.
of ADHDers, you're like, "Dude, what's going on with the laundry?" Like, okay, let's all connect. Let's all challenge each other. Let's make a game
Yes.
out of it. Let's do something to make the slog okay. And so it's a place to be vulnerable about the
Yeah.
things that society has taught us to feel is a character flaw or a weakness or a laziness and stuff,
Yes.
which is
Love that.
stupid. I don't
Yeah.
like that.
What would you say are some of the most frustrating aspects of being an adult with ADHD? What are some of the biggest challenges that you have to manage with this diagnosis?
I think well, the most frustrating part for me is that it's invisible. I think that it's and it hits on two different ways. Like it's when you don't know that it's ADHD, when you're just living life and you have it, you can't see it. So it just feels like laziness. It feels like I have a character flaw. I'm a loser.
Mhm.
It's because I know because I'm capable. I know how to do all this stuff and I'm not doing it. So it
Yeah.
has to mean I'm lazy. And
Yeah.
then when you get diagnosed and you're like, oh, thank God I have a name for this and I can do something about it. But now I'm trying to talk to people that don't have ADHD
Hmm.
about this invisible thing is really hard. I had
Hmm.
this example that I gave. I don't know if this is going to translate here, but it's uh, if people were willing to do the exercise, I think it's the closest to describing it. It's like stand in front of your living room. This is what it's like to have ADHD. If you stand in front of your living room and at the doorway or whatever, and the intention is you're going to clean it. So you're standing there with this task of like, you're going to clean the living room.
Hmm.
And then you just three, two, one, go,
Hmm.
start cleaning it. But the only rule to this is that you can't go into the living room. So and that's but stand
Uh-huh.
there with all the intention and the desire and like yes and the challenge is do that without going into the room.
Oh my gosh.
The barrier, the I know how to do it, I can't do it. You know when
Hmm.
people say I can't do it,
Yeah.
that's the level that it is and it will
Yeah.
drive you mad.
Yeah.
And then you'll start it's and so to try to explain that to someone, it's really difficult.
Yeah.
And
I
then yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much for using that analogy. I love it because as a person who does not have ADHD, of course, I'm a very compassionate, empathic person. So I
Mhm.
try to put myself in other people's shoes, but I really, truly don't get it. Like
Yeah.
in the past, I was one of those people who would be like, what's so hard about it? Just do your fucking laundry. Like it's not that
I
hard.
know. We say that to ourselves. We're like,
Yes, I know. And horribly, I was one of those people supporting that idea. It's like, I don't get this. And
yeah,
so, yes, and now that I have more understanding, more education, more compassion and empathy, I love that example. Like, yeah,
yeah,
do this task. You have the intention, you have the wish, you want the outcome, but here's this major barrier that is preventing you from getting it done.
100%. So like that's when I do coaching with people, like you take things down to the easiest possible level. So it's not about going into the living room and cleaning. It's like, are you able to move your foot a little bit? Right? So with ADHD,
Yes.
there's some things that you have to do consciously for not all the time, but for the things that are insanely difficult. Right?
Yes.
It's just a process to be learned. It's a skill to be learned that is not taught in our normie culture. It's
Yes.
just do it
And
is the normie culture.
just do it. Yeah. Three,
Yeah.
2, 1, do it or whatever. So interestingly though, for you, is it true that the things that are the hardest are the things that maybe to a normie would be the stupidest, like the things that don't require a lot of thought?
Hmm.
I mean, like I'm just thinking like, paying your bills,
Hmm.
doing laundry. Like, what are the things for you that
Yeah.
you struggle with to just do it?
Oh, for me, yeah, they're all those things that they're important, but they're not. They have no joy in them or interest, right?
Mm,
So
yeah.
it's like that's why you'll get late fees on things a fair bit. I still get a late fee trickle in from time to time, and then for me, it's all things cleaning related,
Mm,
environment related are things
hmm.
that I truly have to put timers on
Yeah.
when the whim doesn't allow for it.
Hmm.
Because we're so another way to describe it is ADHD people are either now or not now. And so if there's any kind of tension to a task or there's any kind of a thought that's required for something, it's like okay, not now, I'll do it later and we'll push it off on future us, which is textbook procrastination, but it's for us it's this it's just not now.
Hmm. Hmm.
That's it's I don't know how else to
No, I love that because
it's yeah.
what you're highlighting is this dichotomy now versus not now, which is invisible, versus for someone like myself who doesn't have ADHD, it's is it now? Okay, maybe it's not now, but it's an hour from now. So I'm going to remember an hour from now to do this. But maybe it's tomorrow, maybe, and so there's a wider array of choices versus what I'm hearing with ADHD. It's like it
Yeah.
needs to be right in front of you or it's gone.
Yeah. And so then the struggle with that, right, is that if it's not now, right, and so it's later, there's no remembering it.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yeah.
We'll think that we're going to remember it, but it's gone. So
Yeah.
unless there are skills, this is why, to go back to coaching and stuff, it's like, this is why, or a community or something, some active participation in your life management that is skill building.
Yeah.
Because how are you going to remember? It's okay to be not now if there's a plan for later. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But it's just, yeah.
Exactly.
I'm in service of how do you give yourself permission to forget? Because you're going to forget.
Hmm.
So to think you're going to remember is out. So now
Yeah.
what do you need in order to have permission to forget? That's the blessing right there. Oh my
Oh,
God. To be able to
beautiful.
forget?
Yep.
Oh, glorious.
Because what you are really sneaking in there is self-compassion around that. You're normalizing it. You're going to forget. This is going to
Mhm.
happen. We don't need to beat ourselves up about it. We don't need to lecture ourselves about how next time I'll remember. It's no, this isn't going to happen. So what do we need to do in order to help us manage that? And interestingly, as you were sharing the what's the baby step that you can take, I do that with my folks with clinical depression. Okay, so you can't
Yes.
really get out of bed. It feels like getting out of bed is just too hard. Could you put one foot on the floor and let's just sit for a moment with, the rest of you in bed
Yeah.
and one foot on the floor? And
Yeah.
even though it's, so cliche with what about Bob, which I'm assuming you have
Baby steps, get on the
seen,
bus.
I use that all the times. Baby steps, get
Yeah.
on the bus. Yes. Because
Yeah.
sometimes that's the only thing we can do.
Yeah, my thing was the easy point of entry to the task. That's an ADHD thing. I
Mm,
remember with depression, I was laid up one time in bed and I just happened to be in a moment of self-awareness where I was like, okay, just do the cliche stuff, right? Just sit up, just put
mhm,
my foot down. Just and I kept saying to myself, I can't do that. I can't do that. I was like paralyzed.
mm.
And I ultimately was laying there like a vampire with my fingers folded across my chest. And I was like, I wonder if I can wiggle my fingers. And I wiggled my fingers and boom, I got right out of bed. It
Oh
was
my,
crazy. But I'm like, that
oh
was my smallest baby step, right?
yeah,
We just
wiggle a
have to be
finger.
cool with ourselves about the process. The
Yeah.
the the remedialness of it can feel I don't know. Like you feel like an idiot sometimes. You're like,
Yeah.
I shouldn't need something to be this easy. But
Oh my gosh.
we can give grace to ourselves and be cool with
Mhm.
ourselves about it, holy balls. It's so
Yes.
helpful. Big
Yeah.
time.
To me, that's the game changer is,
Yeah.
yeah, can you be okay with that? Can you be cool with the fact that, okay, in this moment, all I can do is wiggle my finger. That's all I got. That's all I got to give to the
Yeah.
universe in this moment. And again, kind of bringing it back to some of the mindfulness
Yeah.
is what am I able to do in this moment? Don't think about all the other things we need to do. See if we can stay in the present moment and what am I
Yeah.
able to do right now?
Totally. Yeah. I'm on board with that big time.
Love that. So
Yeah.
we kind of skipped over this a little bit. You said you moved out to LA to become an actor.
Yeah.
Did you try to work as an actor? Did you
I
work?
did work.
You
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was successful. I did a lot of commercials in my 20s. I was a
did
really good.
you?
Oh yeah, I was a great office nerd. Um, I nailed it, man. And I did a lot of sketch comedy. But that was more stage, and we toured. We went to Chicago, went to San Francisco, and Oregon. But yeah, it was great for about a decade,
For about a
and
decade,
then the
okay.
light went out. The purpose of it all went out, and so
Interesting.
yeah, um,
Interesting.
yeah.
And do you have any awareness of how or why that happened? It just wasn't fun anymore?
No, it's always fun. I will still horse around. I've done improv stuff for schools, and a buddy of mine who does stand up. We did these shows at the Ice House for like fundraiser type deals. When the itch hits, I'll scratch it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
was the pursuit of it as a business, as a career. Um, I was doing commercials.
Yeah.
And so like they paid great money. It was really good. We survived, we got insurance, we get to buy a house, all that stuff. But then it's like I don't know that I support, Pizza Hut or Coca-Cola. I don't know that I believe in their mission or vision. So there was
Mm.
like, and I think
Well, you
maybe it
had
was in
values,
our
Russ.
something. I don't know what the it was, but it was it
Oh
was
man, you
I
can't do that.
I couldn't bring myself to do it. And maybe that's the
Oh.
ADHD aspect of it, where it's like
Mm-hmm.
when the light goes out, it's
Yeah,
out.
it's out.
And so I've talked about this before. Like I did purpose work through I don't know if it was during COVID. I sunk during COVID for pretty hardcore.
A lot of
And
people did.
yeah, yeah. And I did some purpose work on like what aspects of all the jobs that I ever had brought me joy. Every dumb job I had that sucked, but what was the aspect that I loved? And it
Mm.
was always when I'm helping someone or I'm serving somebody. It was
Mm.
the servitude aspect. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
that lights me up. And we're now in the pocket of me learning about ADHD. And I just, during COVID, I was like kind of coaching on I was creating videos on how to like move our needles forward, even though the world is
Mm-hmm.
um, and I just took to it. So
Yeah.
that's kind of how I found my purpose, and it's locked in now. I mean,
Oh, I love that. So that was going to be my next question is how
yeah.
did you transition into doing what you do now? Did you start with the podcast or did you start with the community?
No, I started with doing stuff on Facebook, and then I had to destroy Facebook, and then social media was the next thing to blow up. The and I was like, okay, I want to help, but I don't want to have to worry about what I look like and all that
Yeah.
acting crap that
Yeah.
was like, lights and makeup. I know that life. So, but I could in my pajamas get on a microphone and be silly. I can do that.
Hmm. I love
And
that.
so I started podcasting about it. And at
Hmm.
the same time, I was offering myself up to do coaching, and I trained in integrative wellness because
Hmm.
I like the whole body stuff. Like, is your
Yes.
whole life in balance? Not always, what's going on in your skull spaghetti, but I also did some ADHD specific coach training.
Hmm.
But ultimately, I just decided this is what I want to do and how I
Hmm.
want to teach and the
Yes.
type of people I want to help. And that's just through the podcast and fine tuning my messaging, I guess I would say. It's like
Hmm.
I've been able to do that then. I've been fortunate for that. Yeah, yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful. So, if you could describe for my listeners who have ADHD and who are interested in potentially joining your community,
Yeah.
just tell us a little bit about it. What does it look like? What do you do?
Yeah, it's on its own platform. Like it's on Circle is the platform that it's on,
Mm-hmm.
and it's everything, but it's meant to be. I built it for the doing of the work, right? I
Okay.
believe that the group dynamic, the emotional support, it is intrinsic. It happens no
Yeah.
matter what community you're a member of. If you're all of like-mindedness, like oh, we all have the same kind of brain, you will naturally support each other.
Yeah.
I mean, or I'm just lucky and we all have all the nice people in our community. I don't know. But the but the It's built on the doing. So we have daily accountability if you
Mm.
want it, daily check-ins. If you don't want to go off of day streaks, we gamify a lot. We do
Mm.
community
Oh, interesting.
challenges.
Uh-huh.
We did a community challenge on sobriety, on uh we win together, which is a group challenge where if everybody
Mm.
does the thing that they said on their list,
Yeah.
we move on to week two. If anybody
Oh.
doesn't do everything on their list, we all go back to week one. It's so
Oh.
much fun and it's scary. But I believe that it is worthwhile to be a part of something that makes you feel that uncomfortability.
Yeah.
I let everybody down.
Yeah.
Feel that and then
Yeah.
come back because nobody gives a shit. We're all like, okay, we're back on week one. Let's
Yeah.
go. It's the perfect community for that. And then we have weekly support calls. We have bi-monthly Zoom calls for our goals. I'll
Hmm.
do office hours. I do a coaching call when people join for the first time just to get acclimated. Um, but it is an awesome
Yeah.
community.
I
I don't know. That's
love
where my
that.
heart's at. I do
Yes.
one-on-one coaching when I have
Uh-huh.
slots, but
Yeah.
man, like to get like just imagine this, right? This is where I get all nerdy about it.
Yep.
Is one-on-one coaching, it's like one dumb idea and I hope it
Hmm.
works. Or, I tend to like try to get your ideas from you.
Hmm.
There's that. That's one. But now imagine going into a room and saying, I have a struggle, and there's like 10 people in the room and they all have 10 dumb ideas for your
Yeah.
one problem. One of those ideas might be great,
That's right.
right?
One of those is not so dumb, and it
Not
could
so
be life
dumb.
changing for that
Yeah.
person.
So
Yes.
you have a place where people are learning how to offer up a dumb idea because that's how we all feel is, oh,
Hmm.
this is stupid. Everyone's done this. No one wants. So what? Share it anyway. And then
Yes.
two, you get to have a slew of ideas to choose from.
Yes.
And
I
then you
love
get
that.
it's awesome. It's so great. I love it.
I can just feel your passion and your enthusiasm, your compassion. That this is your a journey all together,
Yeah.
and to get through this hard thing called life. And, how can we all come together to make this just a little bit easier, to make it a little bit more fun, to
Yeah.
certainly make it more humorous. I think you are just providing such an amazing, beautiful
Oh,
service to people. And,
thank
thank
you.
goodness for you and folks like you.
Thank you. I think that's just a great thing to have a place to do the work.
Yeah.
Because in ADHD, right, we've read all the books,
Hmm.
we've bought them, and we've watched all the YouTube videos. We've
Hmm.
done all this educating and learning. Most people that I work with know probably more about ADHD than I do. They've done all of the deep dives, but they're
Yeah.
still not doing the work.
Right.
You have to build skills. So to have a playground for people to practice and fail,
Hmm.
be vulnerable. Oh, I failed at laundry. That's okay.
That's okay.
This is a
Yeah. To
safe place to
fail
fail at laundry.
safely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. Yes. Fail safely and be okay being
Yes.
like, I feel like about this. Like, totally get it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that playground. Yeah, that's the only way we learn is through our mistakes. The
Yeah.
biggest lessons that we learn are through our supposed failures. And we
Yep.
don't learn from our successes. It's all the hardships, the challenges. Why was that so hard? That's how we learn. And to be able to try, as you said, be vulnerable, put
Yeah.
yourself out there, and yeah, a bunch of the time we're not going to be successful, but that's actually going to lead to bigger growth. And
Yeah.
you're weaving in all this compassion and no judgment. It's a
Yes.
judgment free zone. So I love
God,
that.
that made me think of a thing that I brain farted on it, but the idea of some people get scared of having their next big idea,
Mm,
right? Because they're so used to like being excited about something and it not working out. So
yeah.
they're afraid to have the idea. They're afraid to do anything with the idea. They're afraid to share the idea with the normies in their life because it's just going to be your next big thing.
Hmm.
And to have a place where it's like okay to have your next big idea, to
Yes.
play with it a little bit and have the courage to move it forward.
Yeah.
It's great. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. So, we've talked a little bit about some of the challenges of ADHD, but
Mhm.
I'd also be curious about your thoughts on what are the gifts? What would you say are the silver linings or the gifts with having ADHD?
That is a great question that I think I will have. I may have an opposing viewpoint on this, um, because I don't. It's very common to be like, okay, what are the strengths and what are the good parts? But to
Yeah.
me, it feels like my brain is so mean to me,
Mm,
and ADHD is so debilitating that it's like, yeah, I don't want to give accolades to my abuser. You know what I mean? Like it's like having some like it's like being in a relationship where you're like, oh yeah, but he writes really fast and he can be funny. Yeah, but he tells you that you're a piece of shit every day. Why are you telling me positive things about this abusive? That to me is I get the idea of like we want to uplift or we
yeah,
want to look at, well, what are the good components of it? But
right.
when we do that, and or when we say things like it's a superpower, I
Mm,
think what we're doing is a disservice to the people that are really struggling with it. Like some of us that have depression and we're like,
yeah.
what's so great about this? I
Yes. This does
literally
not
have
feel like a superpower
it
at all.
no
Yeah.
big deal. I can write really good. I
Yeah.
can be creative. Okay, so why can't I just be like, okay, I am creative and that feels good to
Mm.
me. I'm not going to give credit to the that is that is debilitating me all the time. I don't know. That's kind of
I
my stance on it.
I think that is fabulous. I've never heard it put in those terms before, but I think that I love also your differentiation between having ADHD and me. Like I
Yes,
am not ADHD.
correct.
That I am a person who has these strengths, who has these abilities. I happen to be a good writer. I happen to be creative. I'm not talking about myself. I'm just saying because I'm not any of those things. But
Yeah.
but one could think these are all the things about me. But it's not about
Yes.
the gifts of ADHD. I love that. I think that
Yeah.
really makes a ton of sense.
That's why I wrote a Substack article about this recently, which is heart set over mindset, which is everything is about the brain and mindset and have a growth mindset. And I'm like, screw my brain. Like I'm leaning into the heart. Like my
Mm.
heart has never said a mean thing to me. My heart has
Yes.
never been rude. My heart believes in me. It's
Yeah.
so awesome. They go upstairs to that skull spaghetti and what a jerk.
Can
You're
be.
lazy. You're never going to
Absolutely.
make anything. You're a fraud. It's such a jerk.
It's such, it can be so mean.
Yeah.
In DBT, when
Yeah.
we are talking about heart, we use the word wise mind.
Oh,
That we all have an inner wisdom that we call wise mind, which is balancing and blending both the logical part of our brain, the facts, as well as our emotions, but also getting into something deeper, like
yeah.
a deeper, healthy sense of knowing what is right for us and what is wrong for us. And we say our wise mind is always moving us towards health and growth. And so
Yeah.
I love that idea. Our heart is never mean to us. Our wise mind is
Yeah.
never mean to us. If we're hearing something mean, like you suck, you're no good, that is not our wise mind. That's something else.
Yeah. I remember you said something recently when you were on our show, on the ADHD Big Brother podcast about depression and stuff. You were like, if the brain is ever saying something that causes you despair, it's not
Yes.
true.
Yes.
That was beautiful. Like I leaned into that big time. I know I just said I've tried your radical acceptance that you were talking about. That's another thing that really hit me.
Yes, that's
Love
a
that.
radical acceptance. If someone had to say to me, what is the number one DBT skill? If you could teach anybody one thing, because there's like 1,000 DBT skills, which
Yeah.
one would you choose? I always do radical acceptance because it's can be just so life changing for folks. It was for me, so I know it
Yeah.
can be for others.
Awesome.
So, how if people want to get in touch with you and join this community, how would they do that, Russ?
The best place to reach me is ADHDBigBrother.com
Okay,
with the www or whatever. Like, yeah,
yeah.
ADHDBigBrother.com.
BigBrother.com.
That's
Okay.
all there. Or if you Google on whatever not Google, but if you on any podcast platform, if you go to ADHD Big Brother, in the podcast show notes of all of them, you'll see ways to connect and ways to get in touch.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me today, Russ. I really appreciate it. This is our third podcast now together. We're gonna
Yeah.
have to come up with another another
Let's
topic
do
or
it
another
again.
idea at some point. It's always such a pleasure to connect with you, Russ, and appreciate you taking the time to meet with me today.
Thank you. This has been awesome. I love it.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. And as you've heard, if you want to join Russ, get to know him and his community, head on over to his podcast. I hope you guys all have a wonderful week, and I will see you in the next episode.